afternoon, students. This is the dissection procedure for the removal of the brain. It requires patience and it requires several steps. Every year, all the batches have to perform this, where the first stage is removal of this entire skull cap. In the removal of skull cap, we will use several instruments such as hammer and chisel, then the saw, etc. Once again, I repeat, this procedure of removal of the skull cap is being done by all the students belonging to particular batches. Turn by turn, they have to keep on hammering across the line of the skull where we need to just open the skull cap. But in the process of removal of this opening of the skull cap, because it is very thick, we require long amount of breaking, and that breaking is done by hammer and chisel and saw. So therefore, before we start with the removal of the skull cap, remember first there should be a ridge, and that ridge has to be made by a small marking, and that marking goes like this. Here we start from the glabella, then we pass posteriorly across, then just behind the external acoustic meatus we will go, and then we go posteriorly across the nuchal lines and external occipital protuberance, where here I will just turn it, then across the external occipital protuberance, then we go to the opposite side nuchal lines. Similarly, as I once again turn, I once again start from here, just above supraorbital margin, across temporal, behind the auricle, and then I continue over here. So this is the marking now. Now afterwards, after the marking, we are going to use this. This is the chisel, this is the hammer. Now we ask the students to perform in this way. This is how you have to do. Hammer and chisel. We are going to break the outer table of the skull. In this way all the students have to perform. They have to keep on performing like this. Then once again we turn the body, and across the line where we are drawn, we keep on performing. Along with that, we use this saw also. So the students have to use the saw for this purpose also, where we need to cut the outer table. This is how we keep on cutting. Then I think we will move it on this side. Here also we can use the saw at this level, and this is how we have to go. It will take some time for the entire bone to be removed like this. You put your fingers and try and separate the durameter. I put my fingers inside and slowly, very carefully, this is how, and here this is how. So here we have removed the skull cap. See how thick the skull cap is. See the thickness. You see the thickness? Now this is which layer? Okay, so this is endosteal layer which we need to cut it, and for that we need to have the 4 flaps. That is what we are doing. These are how the entire durameter, the industrial wave durameter, we cut it in the form of the 4 flaps. But before that, here we go posteriorly, and it is not in the midline, but it is on either side of the midline. 1, 2, these are 2 flaps. Of durameter is removed, and this layer here, which we see, is arachnoid matter. So here, arachnoid matter and the blood vessels which are present in the subarachnoid space. So here, this is arachnoid matter. All this layer, what I am removing, see here, arachnoid matter, thin polythene-like. Now, what shall we do is, first we'll remove the fold of superior sagittal sinus fox cerebri. So this is the fox scalpel will produce a sound where it touches the edge of the bone. That clearly indicates that the medulla oblongata has been cut off from the spinal cord. And what we will do is, here the 2 fingers have been put below the frontal lobe. Now it should be very systematic, because we have to cut across various cranial nerves. Olfactory nerves have already been destroyed. Similarly, what we will do is, below oculomotor, optic nerve, trochlear, here, if you can come on this side, optic chiasma has been seen. We have to cut. That is optic chiasma which will cut. See here, we are cutting 1. Yes, these 2 we have cut. Then we are cutting the oculomotor, trochlear, and the remaining abduction with my index finger. This is what I am cutting. And then we come across to the petrous portion of temporal bone. Now what we have to do is, once again, we'll put the finger below the temporal lobe. Now I'm putting the finger below the temporal lobe. And now I'll put the scalpel, we'll just keep it like this, and cut the, now you have to keep on feel it, and cut this margin of attached portion of tentorium cerebelli. This step is not allowed for the students. This is done only by anatomy teachers. Otherwise, the students will destroy the entire brain. Now, once the tentorium cerebelli has been separated, what we have to do is we put the finger below the cerebellum. Below the cerebellum. Now you have to feel, even I am not able to see, we just feel and put the finger below cerebellar hemisphere, go till medulla oblongata where we have cut spinal cord and medulla oblongata. My 2 fingers are below the cerebellar hemisphere, and slowly, now 1, 2, and 3. This is how the brain has been. Yeah, so medulla oblongata and that midbrain we have cut, and this is how the entire brain we have removed with cerebellar hemisphere. And these are the folds. We are able to see the beautiful folds of durameter. Fox cerebri, fox cerebelli inside. This is tentorium cerebelli. This is what we had cut simply by feel through. And these are the cranial nerves. And this is the portion of medulla oblongata with the midbrain junction where we have cut. But basically this cut should have been little bit lower down, but we have cut it at this place. So this last procedure of the removal of this brain by cutting optic chiasma, all the cranial nerves, then across the attached margin of tentorium cerebelli, and putting your fingers below cerebellar hemisphere and then removing it, has to be performed only by anatomy teachers, as I keep on repeating. This has not to be performed by students. So this is the complete process of removal of brain. And it is very interesting for the students, and that is why this experience is a must for all the anatomy students. And every year you carry out this experience where we remove the brain from each and every cadavers. So this is it.